Metal Mouth Productions presents Vernie's New Look, a story by Kate Mitchell, read by Kate Mitchell.
Well, it was one of those days where you just can't keep track of the weather. Late July thunderstorm season, you know how it is. Anyway, with that morning having been brilliant sunshine, I took the girls out into the big field to stretch their legs and let some gas out. As usual, Vernie, that's the cow you're interested in, my pride and joy, my chief prize winner, even before her claim to fame, kept to herself. She had an hearty appetite, my best girl, more interested in filling her guts with something fresh than anything else you'd find in a field. Anyway, about 3 in the afternoon, I start seeing these black clouds rolling in from the horizon. There's a strong breeze catching, and this smell like, you know when you've been running something electronic for too long, and it starts to smell a bit like old pennies and burnt dander fluff? Like that. So I'm thinking, that's a massive storm right there, and I start rounding up the girls to head back home. Vernie, though, she decides she's not yet had her fill, dawdling behind the others to snatch another few mouthfuls of cud. But by now the clouds have rolled in over us, and I can see these ribbons of light weaving in and out of the clouds. Lightning, I'm thinking at the time, and I know we have to get a move on. Then, just as I'm rushing over to give her a shove, there's this explosion of light, and just before the brightness forces my eyes closed, I see Vernie just collapsing on her side in the mud. So obviously I'm thinking the worst. I'm having visions of roast beef, a poor old Vernie being served up as someone's cheap Sunday dinner, the lunchtime discount of Weatherspoons. But when I open my eyes, there she is, getting back up. No worse for wear. Well, no, not quite. Something's off. She's holding herself different, like she's balancing something heavy on her shoulders. And that's when I see it. And I know it sees me too. It's like a really well-made Halloween mask. It reminds me of the old Cybermen costumes, the ones from the 70s. And it's flush to her skin, totally seamless. Almost as if everything from the neck up just grew in that way. My heart plummets to hell and back in about half a second, and my stomach is churning like a buttermill. But I holds me nerve, and I does my best to swallow me lunch back down. I meet those eyes again. Then there's this horrible groaning static coming from Vernie, like someone taking an old household drill to a TV. I can't make out any words at first. It's just noise, and I wonder for a second if she's in pain, my Vernie. Before I realise, it's almost like a moo, like a mechanical moo. So I does my best to gather me wits, and I tries calling out to her. I says, "Cripes, Vernie, old girl, what's all this about then?" The noise stops, and then she speaks. And this is the very first thing she says to me.
"Commander Farmer, my organic acid-based fuel processing center is only at 81.7652% capacity. I demand 1.35 further hours in the big field so that I may return to the barn at optimal performance levels."
And that's how I know it's still our Vernie. Expanded vocabulary or not, she's still the same old greedy guts. So, naturally, word gets out. She's in all the papers. Guinness World Records comes a-knocking. Groups of people start dropping by the farm and offering me cash in hand just to lay eyes on her. And somehow we still came away with the best heifer certificate from Holy Bucket Cowfest in September. The other girls give Vernie a wide berth these days. But if it bothered her, I'm sure she'd say something now that she can. Every so often, though, those same dark clouds roll in over the farm, and Vernie stops wherever she is, whatever she's doing, and she stands there gazing at the sky, with that unnatural lightning reflected in those big, flat, mirror glass eyes.